in a hotel room.
Yes.
How is this hotel room compared to the average hotel room you find yourself in?
This one's actually pretty shitty. It's got it's got some creepy crawlers. I think I woke up in the middle of the night and I think something was crawling on me.
Oh
I'm not sure
God.
what it was. So I went and put a double layer shirt on, turned the air conditioning all the way up because I'm pretty sure something crawled across my back.
Oh,
So I'm not going to name
that's
the hotel because
terrible.
this is actually a big franchise hotel. And they're usually better kept than that, but something definitely crawled, or I was having a nightmare. But I'm pretty sure something crawled across me, and I went and put a double shirt on, and I'm disgusted by it. So
Okay, you
yeah,
don't have to say what hotel it is, but you have to say true or false. Does the president own it?
no.
Okay. All right. So
There's,
that narrows it a little bit.
there we go. And there's a commercial about it, about something about if you wake up, you stayed at this hotel, and that should be a good hint. There's a commercial about if you stay at this hotel, you don't know the next day you're so relaxed, you still think you're there. So
All right. Well, the clues are
uh,
out there for people.
they're out there. They're out there.
We're
So
live now, everybody. Welcome to Yumi and Us. We're on episode number 7 with the man, myth, and legend, Mr. Jiu-Jitsu himself. How is it going today, sir?
I'm doing great. You appreciate for having me on. I'm glad you're taking the time to talk to me. I've been watching the last couple of your episodes. I think it's great what you're doing. And like we were saying earlier, I predict this podcast in not just jiu-jitsu, I believe in the martial arts world and connecting with people in the next couple of months is going to take off. It's probably be one of the biggest podcasts out there when it comes to martial arts and reaching other people and stuff like that. I'm looking for this thing to be huge.
Awesome.
So
So I can
I'm
blame
proud of
you
you.
if it doesn't, because
Yes,
you
definitely.
jinxed
Blame
it.
me. I get blamed for a lot of shit, so don't worry about it. So
So, for people who don't know, Mr. Jiu-Jitsu is a preeminent Facebook page for Jiu-Jitsu as well as martial arts lifestyle. He's always given great motivational slash demotivational speeches to get your ass in gear. Is that the best part of what you do, Mike? Do you love that?
I do love it. At the beginning, I was doing it just to piss off a few people that were complaining they couldn't train or they couldn't do this and that. And eventually it took off to something I'm still not sure. It still blows my mind a little bit that many people on Facebook follow me, especially because I'm just talking about normal stuff. And it blows my mind that people connect with it so much. It's my direct messages is one of the most enjoyable things every day. I get about a dozen new messages a day, and I enjoy tackling the problems. People tell me, well, I can't work out because of this. I can't do that. I'm struggling with this. My child doesn't want to do this. My wife this. My husband that. And I enjoy trying to troubleshoot and giving solutions to figure it out. And I'm also learning a lot of stuff on the way. So
You know what you're doing? You're saving a lot of people therapy bills.
I'm saving myself a therapy bill. I don't
Yeah.
think if it was for these people reaching out to me, I think I might need therapy because I actually, when I help someone, man, I feel awesome. I feel great. I feel like I don't know. I feel like I conquered the world. When someone tells me, you know what, I went back to work today. I put that resume in, and I went to the gym afterwards. I feel great after. My wife's like, "What are you so happy about?" And I show her the message. I go, "Look at this guy in California. Look at this guy in England that wrote to me, and now he's back to work. And he's just I don't know, man. I get off on it. It's awesome.
Mm,
So I
yeah.
wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. I tell you that.
Well, I know one of my training partners, Paul. He loves your videos, and he's always posting them and sharing them to me. He's like, "Hey, you see what he said today? It's right on point, man. It's awesome." So definitely don't stop that train.
Thanks, Paul. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So you've been in jujitsu for a long ass time. I don't mean to out you as being old, but what I mean is there are certain people.
No, I'm old.
There's certain people that when I see them sharing old stories, like they are grainy. They have like date stamps on the in the corner that start with the numbers 19, and they'll be in like shitty, badly lit boxing rings with tiny little gloves on, and like the first sentence is the title NHB. Like that's OG
Mm-hmm.
shit.
Yeah.
So where did you find this avenue? How did it come to you when you first got into like I don't want to say MMA, but just like martial arts as a recreational outlet?
Well, in 1996, I was sitting around with a few of my buddies. I wasn't doing too much at the time. I dropped out of college, and we were at Blockbuster Video. A lot of people might not know what that is anymore. It was it's a archaic place where you would rent VHS tapes and watch them. It's before Netflix, before downloading stuff. You had to go rent actual VHS tapes. For you younger guys, you might have to Google what that is. So we went to the video store and we were renting like fucked up videos like Faces of Death and stupid shit. And right beside there, I would always see this UFC 1 video. And it would always say 2 men enter a cage. We walk out and I was like, fuck it, let's rent it and watch it. So we went back to the house, getting high, getting drunk, whatever, watching it. And right away, something caught my eye. I'm looking at this and I'm like, how is this little guy in this karate? I didn't know it was called a gi at the time. The karate outfit is destroying these guys. You know, he beat the first guy. He beat the boxer, took him down, didn't do it. I rewinded it. I'm like, well, he didn't do anything to him. Why did the guy give up? And I'm looking at it again. And my friends are looking at it again. We're all confused by it. Then the second match, and then the third match. And it's just, and then I'm like, hey, let's go back to the store. There was UFC 3 was out at the time. So we went got 1, 2, and 3. And I was like, let's go back and see. My buddies are like, oh, you're really into this shit. So I'm looking at it. 3 weeks later, I am in a cage in Iowa fighting. No fighting experience ever. I'd never been in a fight.
Wow.
I was 23, 24 at the time. And I was going online and I saw this ad for a fight. It was under Monte Cox Promotions in Iowa. And I drove to Iowa and I got armbarred in less than 30 seconds.
So somebody had been doing it for slightly longer than you.
A lot longer. A lot longer. His name's Brett Alwazawi. We're actually friends on Facebook. He fought a lot of guys at the time. He had already had like 20 some matches. I remember the cage that night was coming off the stage. They had trouble. It was a square cage. It was coming off the cage. Travis Fulton was fighting in it.
Oh, really?
Horn was in it. Yeah, there were a lot of guys in it. And yeah, so 3 weeks later. But after that is when my brain was like, okay, now you need to learn this. And then after that, I started going. There were only 2 Grace Academies at the time in America. There was a Grace Academy in California, and Hoist opened in Cleveland, Ohio, and Parma, Ohio, it's right by Cleveland. Greg Kramer was the instructor, and the instructor there was a blue belt. His name is Greg Kramer. And Hoist was teaching at the time. Him and Hoist make a lot of videos now and stuff, and I was going up there and training, and I just got hooked on it since then. And basically all the 90s were me fighting MMA. Then in the 2000s, I started getting involved in Jiu-Jitsu.
That's sick. You know what's a funny story is I have a very similar entry into the idea of what MMA is. Same thing, like I would rent UFC 1, 2, and 3 from the local video store on VHS in the 90s, but I didn't actually get into martial arts for another decade after that. So it was strange because I was a kid at the time, okay? I was still in like grade 9, grade 10 in the mid 90s, and my parents wouldn't let me do martial arts. Like, I never asked them since why. It might have been a money thing. I don't know. I wasn't privy to their situation financially while I was growing up. But they definitely, it's not in their wheelhouse. Like, my mom's a very loving person who couldn't, smack a fly. And my dad is a very intellectual person who just doesn't see the use in such brutish activities. So for whatever reason, I didn't get into it until I left home at 18, and then I immediately got into it. It was like one of the first things I did. I moved out of the house in September. That's a whole different story we could get into because it was September 2001. And I was working at an airport when that whole thing went down. But then back to the story, by January 2002, I was starting karate. Just because I wasn't allowed to up to that point. You know how it is when you get whatever age you are, you get liberated from your parents. You're like, I'm going to do everything I wanted to do. Man, I was going to the grocery store and buying Oreos because I could eat them because I'm buying them with my money. You know what I mean? And martial arts for me was that's how I got into it. But it was like there was pent up UFC awesomeness that I had to explore.
And I tell people the way I started is not the way to start. Like sometimes I'll post like videos of my old fights or pictures, and I actually tell people that's not the way to get into it. A lot of people say it blows my mind how people are willing to step into a cage and fight, but they won't do a 5-minute grappling match. It blows my mind. It's like people actually, the guys will step into a cage and fight, but they won't do a 5-minute grappling match. It just it blows my fucking mind. And they were like, well, you did. I'm like, no, that's not what you're supposed to do. You should go do 15, 20 grappling matches.
Yeah.
Go do some smoker kickboxing, boxing matches, and then do your first MMA fight. You re-engineer it backwards. It's the wrong way to do it. And it blows my mind how people are willing to step into a cage where you're going to suffer more consequences than doing a 4-minute match at Naga or at your local grappling tournament. You're going to get punched. You're going to get kneed. There's so much things that can go wrong because they're striking. Why wouldn't you start off with the grappling?
Yeah.
It just blows my mind how these young people and these promoters, I think they just fucking use these young kids. I'm like, why would you take someone to an MMA match and make sure they don't have grappling matches or previous boxing or they've done some kickboxing smokers or something like that?
Yeah. No, the promoters don't care. That's why they have sanctioning bodies, because promoters would put you up against a jackal if they could.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, they're just filling their card. Don't rely on the promoters to get you someone who doesn't deserve to be in there, you know?
And it's mixed martial arts. That means they used to have previous training in the other arts. You should have some boxing matches. You should have some kickboxing matches. You should have some wrestling matches. You should have some jiu-jitsu matches. I think that's what true amateurs should be doing. If their goal is to become, to make a living in MMA or become a star in MMA, you need to have you need to compete in those other things. So.
Well, so you're saying your way that you did it historically should be the cautionary tale.
Yeah, that's why I talk about lots of things I do. I talk about it not because it's cool or because I'm trying to brag. It's because maybe you shouldn't do some of those things. A lot of times I would compete injured, and I don't think you should compete injured.
Oh no, yeah, I know.
Yeah, and I've competed almost every single time injured. I refuse to turn down a match. Like even now, I've done a couple of super fights the last couple of years, and I'm in. And it doesn't, it's just. But I don't think everyone should do that. I think I'm like that 1% of a human being that can do it, just because I'm mentally fucked up and I can do it. But I don't think you should do it, especially if you have a job the next day. If you have this, if you have that, you shouldn't risk it.
Bro, you're preaching to the choir right now, because I took a super fight on 2 days' notice about 2.5 weeks ago, and I'm still healing my fucked up ankle from that experience. Yeah.
How is your foot right now? Actually, I saw the pictures. How is it?
It's 50%. It's to the point where I can teach a class and then ice it afterwards, but I'm nowhere near rolling. Like, that'll be a couple weeks yet. I'm getting to the point where it feels okay, and it's real dangerous because I'm getting real itchy to get in there and actually show some stuff, especially to some of the new students that are coming into my club. I'm like, I want to roll with them. You know how it is, right? You want to roll with them. And, but then I'll demo a technique and it will remind me, oh, you ain't ready. So, yeah, I got to watch it.
But now there are still ways to train. There are still ways to train, which I tell everybody, even when you're injured, there are ways to train on your injuries. You just have to use your God-given brain. There are ways. When my leg was broke, I iced my leg and I did a lot of standing submissions. When my leg was hurt, I would go to the gym and we would do all standing submissions.
Cool, like standing guillotines.
Everything would be from standing. Everything was for about 6 weeks straight. I did everything from standing. And when I hurt my arm, I sat on my back and I played open guard with one arm. And I take my arm to my body and I train. You can train around any injury. Now there's some injuries where you can't train around. Sure. If you have broken ribs, have you had broken ribs before?
I've popped ribs 3 times.
Okay.
So like the cartilage.
That's pretty painful too.
It sucks.
Painful. Now double that with a broken rib. It feels like someone has a spear and they've gone through your back, and the spear you're walking around. You feel like there's an invisible spear through your fucking chest, and you're holding it. So there's some injuries where I'm like, okay, you can't do anything because you're just going to make it worse and you're never going to train again. So when I tell people, with a broken arm, you can train. You can train. I'm not saying go train your broken arm. I'm saying train the body parts that aren't hurt.
Train around it, yeah.
I mean, there's people that come from overseas, military people that have lost arms, legs, that are doing CrossFit. I know people that are born with deformities that are wrestling, that are doing aerobics, are doing gymnastics. There are ways to train around any injury, I believe. There are ways around it. It's just we feed ourselves these bullshit excuses that have been fed on from other people. Our teachers give them to us. Our parents give them to us. Oh, don't do that yet. Like your parents told you weren't ready for martial arts. It's not their fault because someone else has told them. Someone else has told them. So a lot of times we're brought up with excuses. We don't even realize we're being brought up with excuses. Oh, he's too young to do jiu-jitsu yet. Oh, he's too young to play this. He's too young to do that. And it's just someone else has fostered these bullshit jiu-jitsu, these bullshit excuses to someone. They just pass them on and on and on. Yeah. And I'm just here to break up the excuse party.
That is such a noble act. I don't mean to say that you're a saint because I'm sure you wouldn't take that.
No, I wouldn't.
But
Not even close.
what I mean is though, and I was talking to another friend of mine the other day who has been through some shit in his life and has gotten through it. And he's the type of guy that will sit down with anybody of any excuse and talk them through it and tell them how to get through their problems because he's been there. And it's something that is priceless because I was telling him, like, a lot of people who have a big problem right now, that's the biggest problem they've ever had, and they've never gotten through something before. So they don't know that there's something on the other side. They don't understand how actually easy it is if you believe in yourself and if you set yourself up with people who believe in you too, and you build a plan, you make a list, and you work through things, right? And it's people like him and it's people like you that know you can see, like, this is your problem. This isn't the end of the world. We can work around it.
And it's not just that. It's just it's. I know some people just need that push too. Some people just need that little push. Some people just need that little push in their inbox. We're like, you know what? Just shut your mouth and go do it. I know you can do it. Just I'm here for you. So I've had people, complete strangers, FaceTime me every Saturday before tournaments. Complete strangers I don't even know. I'll give them my number. They're like, I'm so scared. I'm doing my first tournament, and they'll FaceTime me. I'm like, let's talk. I had this lady 2 weeks ago FaceTime me before she did her first it was 5K run. I know nothing about jogging, and I'm just talking to her, and I'm like, I know you can do this. And she was like 50 some years old, and afterwards she finished. She was tagging me in pictures, or they did a family video they sent me. It was awesome. It's just some people just need that little bit of push, and I might sound harsh, but I know I can get it out of you. I know everyone just needs that little bit of push. I know everyone has that little bit of bitch in them that needs smacked a little bit, and I know they can get past it because there's so many people in your ear telling you can't do it. You're too old. You're too this. You're not the right color. You're not the right gender. You're not this. You're too soft. You're millennial. You're this. There's hundreds of negative people out there that are going to be in your ear. So you need one positive person that's going to kick your ass just a little bit.
Well, there's an entire industry for people like that. They're called personal trainers, and people wouldn't need them if they didn't need them. You know what I mean? Like, that industry would
Mm-hmm.
disappear if people just believed in themselves by looking at a
Yeah,
motivational quote. They have to have that bitch slapped out of them pretty much every class. That's what they pay for, right?
exactly. And I love motivational quotes, but it's got to go beyond that sometimes. Sometimes you can't, and I see a lot of people that get excited. They'll repost my videos or repost something you post, and they're like, "Yeah, this got me pumped up today." But you need that next step after that. It's if you're
Yeah.
posting too many motivational quotes, then you're going the other way. If you're posting too many inspiration, then you're going the other way again. You have to go in the middle lane. If it's too many motivational quotes, then I know you're not training enough. Then you're not working on your other stuff. You're not doing other stuff.
Yeah.
There's got to be a fair balance to what you're doing.
Yeah, I think that motivation is like the pre-workout. You don't take a pre-workout if you're not going to go work out.
I think you just had the best analogy. Motivation is a pre-workout.
Yeah.
That's
So if you're just to pound, 3 gallons of pre-workout and do nothing, you're not doing yourself any favors.
it's basically, I'll see. It's always the same people. They post the same motivational stuff over and over again. I'm like, okay, you're motivated, but now you're not putting any action into your motivation. It's just, and then you see like they'll post something motivational, then they'll post an hour later, fuck this guy, or he's shit, or she's shit, or just, I'm just like, what happened to this morning you posted that you're going to kill the world, and now you want to kill everyone in the world. It's just, there's sometimes there could be too much motivation, especially with social media. There's got to be a little bit of balance. There's got to be some hard work put in there too.
Well, where did you find your own push from? Because I don't see anybody pushing Mr. Jiu-Jitsu, but obviously you've got the nitro boost in your own ass. You're working hard. You're a hard-working guy. We were talking about this before. Like, you're driving back home for 4.5 hours after this podcast, after working a day. Like, this is not something a lot of people would even accept as a job, let alone a day to day.
Well, I'll tell you my schedule here the next 24 hours. So after this podcast, I'm going to drive 4.5 hours back home. I'm going to get up 5 a.m, go lift. After that, this badass young brown belt, half my age, is going to come to my house and kick my ass for an hour. After that, I'm going to go to my office and work for about 3 hours. Then after that, my son has a triple header in baseball. I'm going to be at the baseball fields all day and get up the next day and do about the same shit again.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I have a car now that's full of healthy foods. I'm not snacking. My car right now has smoked oysters in it, smoked sardines, deer jerky, and bison jerky in it. So I always make sure I have healthy foods with me too while I'm traveling. So, but that's just the next 24 hours. So when someone comes at me with an excuse, I just dropped my 24 hours on them. I'm like, okay, let's go now. Tell me about your excuse one more time. Well, what was the problem? You couldn't do what? You couldn't do this. You couldn't spend time with your kids. You couldn't go to work. You couldn't work out. You couldn't lift. You couldn't go to jiu-jitsu. And I'm like, I'm doing all that in 24 hours. Let's go. Let's see what the real problem is. Let's see where the real excuse is at.
Yeah, I think this is why what you do works so well for other people is because you're not, I hate to, slur a name out there, but like you're not Tony Robbins. You're not just a guy getting on stage and telling people to walk over coals. You're the guy literally walking over coals and saying, follow me if you want.
Well, I think the best thing is to lead by example. Like I refuse to post or talk about anything that I haven't done personally. It's just not in my nature. It's just we were talking earlier about the Halo Top ice cream.
Yeah.
I eat a lot of Halo Top ice cream. I post it in my videos and stuff because I enjoy it because it's low in sugar. It works good with my my low carb diet, high fats. It works real good with that. And they reached out to me and they sent me Halo Top every month. They're awesome guys, but they also wanted me to do some other stuff, and I just said I wasn't comfortable because one, I'm not a business exec. I'm not an advertising exec. I wouldn't even know how to advertise with them correctly. Even no matter what they paid me, I still wouldn't be comfortable. There's just some things that I'm not comfortable with. And so I won't talk about it and I won't push it either. It's just like for the last 2 years, I've been on. It's not a keto diet. It's close to a keto diet. I've cut out all bread, cut out all pasta, and I talk about my foods. I talk about the results, but I don't push the diet on people. I'm like, these are my results. This is what happened to me doing it. If you want to try it, go ahead. But I'm not going to tell you to do it. Just like I love jiu-jitsu. I can show you all the benefits of jiu-jitsu. Doesn't mean you should do jiu-jitsu. Maybe you should be doing CrossFit. Maybe you should do something else. I'm just showing you the benefits of jiu-jitsu, how it's helped me off the mat and on the mat. It's helped me business-wise, with my family, with my wife, with my kids. So I'm just showing people my results. I don't push. A lot of people send me messages like, why are you always pushing jiu-jitsu? Why are you always pushing working out? Why are you pushing training with injuries? I'm just telling you this is what I do. My shoulder's separated. My triceps separated. I have so many injuries. I won't even get into it, but I still train. Should you train with them? That's up to you, but I'll be the example for you.
Yeah, you're like the lab test to show that it can be done, which again sets the bar higher than a lot of people think that it can be set, which is good. And back to the question though, like what motivates your ass to go do this?
You know what? I lost my father when I was 14 years old, and it had a great impact on my life. It's something that bothers me. It still bothers me to this day. I'm 45 years old. It's something that stuck with me all my life. I woke up when I was 14 years old. I heard my mother screaming, found my father dead, and I started administering CPR to him. I had no idea how to give CPR. I had no idea what I was doing at the time. And I believe for a couple of years, I think that's probably why I fought in that first cage match after 3 weeks of no training, basically just watching VHS. I've always feel like I'm fighting a ghost. I feel like it's something that maybe would make my father proud. Working hard because he came here as an immigrant. He came here illegally as an immigrant. He jumped off the side of a boat. I ended up getting a citizenship. My mom came here. They're both from Greece. She came here illegally, but my father came illegally. He worked very hard. And I remember from a young age, he was always working hard. He'd always work out with me. And I feel like it's something that I have to carry on. It's like a ghost of his that I'm always chasing. So I feel like that's my motivation was my father passed away. It did a lot for me. When he passed away, I rebelled a lot. I was rebelling a lot until I saw that first UFC 1 video, actually. So Hoist Gracie and my father definitely changed my life. So, and they're still inspirations to me right now. I don't follow too much MMA, but Hoist Gracie, I would probably do anything for that guy. If that guy was to call me right now, I don't know. If he asked me to do anything, I would do it. It's my father and Hoist Gracie are two great inspirations that they changed my life greatly.
Yeah.
And I only met Hoist Gracie once in my life. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did
I
you
got to train with him at a seminar in the 90s. So.
Were you training with his guy that you were saying at the beginning of?
Yeah, his affiliate. Yeah, his affiliate. Yeah.
Oh, okay, but you only ever trained with the guy or met the guy once. That's interesting.
Just one time. Yeah, one time. Yeah. So. Yeah, I would love to sit down and talk with him and tell him what an impact he had on my life. A lot of people have a lot of impactful things, and he definitely impacted my life. I probably wouldn't be talking to you right now if I had not walked into that Blockbuster video and rented UFC 1.
How wild is that?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I'm pretty sure I'd be 300 pounds or strung out on drugs, or I probably would have committed suicide. It was something. I was in a good place in my life at the time, and amazing how a VHS tape changed everything around, and here we are talking.
Yeah. What's strange is that violence is actually what brings peace to a lot of people. You know what I mean?
It definitely does.
It's a strange irony.
I know all our life we're fighting against violence, but it's amazing how such a violence. Well, to us, it's not violent. To us, it's art, it's
Of
educational. But
course.
to someone else, it's violent, how it changes people's lives, and it's amazing.
You had touched on your immigrant background, or at least your ethnicity in being Greece. That's something you hold very proud. I've seen.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I don't know a lot of Greek people, to tell you the truth. I find I live or I learn vicariously through your posts. It's quite interesting. But one thing that I did, the one little Grecian thing that I've played with over the years was pancration. I had let me see, six or I think eight pancration fights that were kind of like a mixed rules thing, but that was what I understood as a Grecian martial art. And you worked with pancration yourself, did you not?
Yes, I went over to actually. I retired in '99 from MMA. I won the no holds bar Midwest NHB title,
Heyo.
and I was supposed to fight Sean Shirk to unite our belts, but I got an offer to go over to Greece and fight in pancration matches. I'm like, and I saw a couple of videos of Sean Shirk, and I'm like, should I go fight this gorilla guy? I'm retired now, or go fight? They were told me I was going to fight like karate guys, boxers. I'm like, oh, I'll just take
Yeah,
him down and choke him.
yeah,
And I'm going to get paid for this. So I
yeah.
went over to Greece and I fought in pancration matches. A couple of the videos are online. Actually, Jiu-Jitsu Times always reshares
Cool.
one of my videos over and over again. It's called Pancration versus Krav Maga, which we're both fighting pancration, but he was I didn't even know
Yeah.
what Krav Maga was at the time, but they told me before the match that I wasn't allowed to punch or kick the guy because of my previous MMA experience. I could
What?
only use jiu-jitsu. Yeah, you can see the video; it's online, and he's kicking my leg, he's punching me, and I end up getting him in the leg lock, but he's jacking me up with kicks and punches, and I take him down and end up leg lock. It's like a 2.5 minute match,
Huh.
but I got a no show contest because I did not fight Sean Shirk for the belt. So, and I'm kind of glad I didn't because pretty sure he would have fucked me up.
I'm
He
pretty sure
is
he would. I love
he
you,
was
man, but I'm pretty sure he
at
would.
the time. This is right before he got into the UFC. This is right before he got into the UFC
Yeah.
in '99, and I was at nowhere near his level. I fought some pretty good guys, but they were no near. He would have beat me. He would have beat me
I
pretty
always
easy.
think
So.
about that, and when you see these old matches that get shared of people who became superstars, like you forget that there was small shows that they were fighting. Well, they were still superstar level, just not the notoriety, right? Like you can watch old videos of George St. Pierre and the poor guys who have to fight those type of characters or Matt Hughes or fill in the blank, Anderson Silva, they're just getting lit up because they do not belong against that
Yeah,
level of skill. But they haven't been discovered by the UFC at that particular point of history. So I just feel so bad. It's not like they're cans, but there's levels to this shit, and this poor guy doesn't understand until he gets spinning back elbowed. What type of levels we're talking.
and that's where it comes earlier. I was talking about that before you sign up for an MMA match. Why you need those grappling matches? Why you need those smoker kickboxing matches? Why you need to go do amateur golden gloves? I just think it's so necessary. It's if you want to be an MMA fighter, you have to go compete in these other things.
Yeah. Um, I could probably break that theory for you in a little bit, in a certain way, just from my own experience, because I did that. I started competing in grappling tournaments 3 weeks into training, and I continued that. I was very active in the local grappling scene, well through my blue and purple belt, but I took my first MMA fight as a blue belt, so I had about 3 years of grappling tournament experience at that point. I had my pancration matches, which I kind of that was my feeler to see if I wanted to do MMA. It's kind of like the halfway between grappling and MMA. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I did well in them. I didn't lose a match. So I'm like, okay, I can do an MMA fight. I started training under Jason McDonald, the local pro here who was in the UFC at the time. Right when I started training under him, he was preparing to fight Damian Maia. So I mean, it was a big deal to train with him. I'm like, okay, I got some good tutelage. I'm comfortable with my jiu-jitsu. I know that I can hang in there with some strikers and pancration. And my first match, I got knocked out, I think, about 4 minutes in. But it's not the perfect solution. There's still guys in there better than me. But I would definitely say don't be the guy going in 2 weeks with no training. Like that just doesn't make
Yeah,
sense.
definitely. Yeah.
But I mean, MMA is such an interesting sport in that there are so many ways to lose. You know?
So many ways. That's why you need to be covered in all those aspects of the sport.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just jujitsu. It's not sport jujitsu. It's not just boxing. It's not just kickboxing. It's not just wrestling. It's there's a lot of things you have to cover, and I think you need to be efficient in a lot of these things. That's why a lot of guys you see that like like Gary Tonin, he wrestled in high school. He did a lot of. That's why I think his MMA transition is going to be so much smoother than a lot of other MMA guys. I saw that last MMA match, or even like Kron Gracie. It's
Oh
all
yeah.
these people that were very successful in grappling go on to have very successful. Look at even Damian Maya.
Hmm.
I'm not saying that they're going to become the number one all around sports, but they're going to go pretty high in the sport.
For
They
sure.
might not be the champion, but they'll go up pretty high, I believe.
Well, I mean, especially when they are, I feel like anybody who's at that level in any given sport understands what it takes to enter into another sport at that level or even below that level. You know what I mean? Like Hodger Gracie started working on his boxing. You've got Crone who's training with the Diaz brothers nonstop. You've got GSP working with Tonin. You know what I mean? Like they're in camps
Mm-hmm.
that foster an a high level of athletic prowess in that sport. It's not like, well, I'm a great grappler. Yeah, I'll just go choke some bitches. It's totally different. And the people
It's
that
a
are
whole
going to
different
make
thing.
it, like you're saying, the people that are going to deserve that spot in the higher echelon of MMA understand that. The people that don't, they just won't make it. You know, like, did you ever watch the one MMA fight that Marcelo Garcia had?
In Japan, right?
Yes. Yeah, I think it was
It's in
Pride.
Japan, and he got knocked out, right? Isn't that the one where
I
he
think
got
he got
or
TKO'd, but
TKO'd?
it
Yeah,
was
TKO'd.
like
Yeah,
it was a handful of minutes in. I forget if they were doing the 10-minute first round or not. I honestly can't remember where in the clock it ended, but he had the guy's back very quickly. Of course. Of course he did. He's Marcelo Garcia. Everybody
yeah.
expected him to choke this guy like seconds into the match. He had his back, and I guess he found it very difficult to do what he does with the seatbelt grip with those MMA gloves. It was interfering with a lot of his pummeling, his hand play, his grip fighting, and he couldn't find the finish on this guy, which was shocking to a lot of people. Um, but I don't know how much training outside of jiu-jitsu he did before going in there. I don't know if he was thinking he was going to be, just so superior in jiu-jitsu that the rest didn't matter. Like you don't see that anymore. Like what
No, you
other
don't.
what other big grapplers do you see going in just being like, I'll just choke him? Nobody.
I don't. And I remember speaking of, we were talking about Kron Gacy and Gary Tonin. They were showing their videos of them up to the like months before, and they're doing all their grappling with the gloves on.
Mm.
And it's very hard to grapple with MMA gloves on. It's everything changes. Everything from going under the guy's throat, from the way you grip, from the way you take the guy down, from the way you even hold, head and arm guard. Everything
Yeah.
changes with those gloves. It changes the whole. It's like a whole new thing.
Yeah, it's strange.
It's a whole new level you have to learn all over again.
It's like it retards a lot of things about your hands, period. Like what people don't understand, and I didn't understand until I did it, till I got there, was it's not necessarily the gloves. The gloves suck because they're padded, they're pillowy and trying to get under chins, like you're saying. What's almost worse is the wraps underneath the gloves. They're like a cast. Like you have very little mobility in your hand, and that's on purpose. They want to basically form you into fists.
Yeah, and they're easy to grab.
Oh
So
yeah.
if you're on my back and I got one glove right here, good luck choking me. You might be able to face crank me, but I'm still going to be able to turn into it. Even if you're trying to face crank me or turn my forehead to get the other hand in, I still have that glove. I have something bigger to grab now. You don't have that slippery hand to keep digging in. It's just, I'm trying to show emotions here. It's just that you don't have that slipperiness. The hands aren't slippery anymore.
Mm.
It's just like if I do heavy gi for a few weeks, then I go do some no gi, I feel the difference. I feel it right away. If I do a lot of no gi and then a week later I do heavy gi, I feel the difference again because I have two different games. And my no gi game is totally different than my gi game. My gi game is totally different than my no gi game. It's the same thing. You have to train everything specific. That's why I think no gi and gi are two different sports.
Hmm. I've heard that a
I think
lot.
they're absolutely two different sports. You cannot train one because I like doing spider guard. I like a lot of lapel grips. I like doing warm guard. I know I'm
Really?
an old man, but I like doing barambolos. I like getting inverted. I know old
Woo!
jiu-jitsu guys should be talking like that. It's like swear words, but I do a lot of modern stuff with my jiu-jitsu. But no-gi, I do a lot of old school stuff. I do a lot of half guard, a lot of lockdown. I try to come back on top with sweep. So it's just I believe there's two different sports and you have to train for them. I think it's very hard to be a world champion in the gi and be a world champion in no-gi. It's just
Yeah, for sure. Although,
there
ironically,
are a few. There are a few.
I know that Robert Drysdale's made highlighted the fact that basically all of the ADCC champions are also Mundial champions. Like it's always the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys that are getting to the finals of ADCC. It's not wrestlers, the catch wrestlers, the no-gi only guys. You know what I mean? Like obviously there's exceptions. There's the Gordon Ryans and such out there, but for the most part, you can expect that the people that win ADCC are probably Brazilian and definitely very highly ranked in the gi. So how,
Yeah, it definitely is. But I think it's starting to like I don't know if you know like the last 6 years has definitely the no geek game has changed, especially with ADCC. It's definitely there's a lot of guys that it's not like that anymore. A lot of these guys are they're the champions one or the other. There's still a couple out there, but it's definitely changed a lot. Like Cabrina, it was his last ADCC, and when was the last time he competed in the gi before that? He was always losing to Rafael,
who is also done now too.
Yeah, so it's definitely changed. You can see there's a change in the guard. The leg lock game has definitely forced people to change. Has forced the guard to change. That has changed people's game. A lot of people that you would think would be competing now won't be competing because the leg lock game it's fucking real. And if you don't understand it, if you don't train it a lot, you will lose to it. That's why people like Gordon Ryan, all these other people are emerging. You know, it's just, and you're gonna have more and more leg lock stars. I think we're just still seeing the tip of the iceberg when it comes to these leg lock experts. There's gonna be more and more guys coming out where they're gonna change the whole game. Where it's just, you know, and I think it's gonna transition to gi. You know, they're gonna straight full locks are gonna come. You know, knee bars. There's gonna be a lot of stuff. Even though there's no reaping allowed, no heel hooks. I think the leg lock game is going to turn up even more just because of the entries now, like Z guard entries where you get into leg locks.
Yeah,
I think a lot of that's going to change.
I was going to mention, fuck, I just lost his name. Our Aussie friend,
Craig Jones.
Obviously his heel hooks are savage, but he's been hitting a lot of knee bars lately because people are so worried about his heel hooks that he just changes his hip angle and takes the knee. You know, you saw that in the that Sakuraba event that got put on, or the one in Japan. You know,
the one in Japan, yeah.
He knee barred everybody, you know, because they're all ready for his heel hooks. But guess what, bitch? We got knees too, and he's taking those. Coincidentally, just announced, or at least I just heard about it today, is we've got a match coming up now between Craig Jones and Husamar Paul Harris.
What?
Oh yeah, yeah.
That got announced today.
Yeah.
See, Drew, I don't keep up with the jiu-jitsu news, and I feel so bad. People tag me and stuff like, "What do you think about this match?" I'm like, man, I'm on a construction site. I really,
yeah. Think about that.
His last match with against Gary Tonin was fucking awesome. One of the probably the most exciting jiu-jitsu matches. Probably one of my top 5 favorite jiu-jitsu matches was that one, and that's I don't think he can beat Greg. I don't think at the level Greg's at right now. I think actually Greg can actually catch him.
This is what I was going to ask.
But he might not catch him in the leg. But I could see him maybe getting to his back and choking him, just because of the speed. And he doesn't compete that much anymore. To be honest, I mean, when's the last time Rusimar is going against top level black belts like Greg is at this level right now?
Well, it would be Tonin, who also got to Husamar's back and twice and couldn't finish him from there. Because I think that, especially if it's later into the match, maybe if it's early in the match, Craig could get there and do something. But I think he's as wide as a truck, and he grapples without a shirt, so he's very slippery. And he just
but Greg's a lot bigger than Gary.
It's true.
A lot longer. So that might come to his advantage. I'm sure if Tonin was a little bit longer, he probably would have finished him.
Here's something else to consider too. Since the Tonin match, Paul Harris has been knocked out at least once, but I want to say twice, badly concussed, knocked out. So I wonder how much that plays into, that changes the person. You know, it could change his mentality. It could change his, physiology. Do you think that could play into this match?
It's a grappling match, right? There's no.
For sure.
Yeah, it's a great. Well, he's not gonna. I don't think he's not gonna be worried about strikes. So I don't think that's gonna play that big of a difference. But I'm sure it's definitely fucked with his head. Being knocked out is not. I've been knocked out a few times. And it definitely fucks with you pretty bad. It's it may have. I just from him not competing that much. I'm gonna say the last time he did a grappling match was against Gary, right?
I think so. At least at the professional level,
wasn't that 2-3 years ago? How long?
Yeah,
2 years ago.
Yeah, I want to say at least 2. It was in Polaris.
So you figure in 2 years he's going to go against Craig Jones, who is at the upper echelon of the leg lock, of the grappling, not just leg lock, of the grappling game. He's triangles people, chokes people.
Yeah, he's still on his way up.
Yeah, he's still on his way up, and I think someone hungry like that, and Is it a 10-minute match, a 15-minute match? Is it?
I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to. I don't even remember what promotion it's for.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm excited. I'm excited. I actually said I'm
yeah,
excited. That's
yeah. Check
awesome.
it out. I think it was announced on Flow Grappling. I just can't remember who is putting it on. Honestly, it doesn't matter. It could be in somebody's backyard, and you'd get pay-per-view buys for that one.
Yeah, you got my fucking money. I'm in. I'm in. I don't care. I don't care who's on it. I'm in. I want to watch it. I'll pay for it.
Yeah, that's sick. So
And I do enjoy matches like that. I enjoy matches like
that's one of those matches that doesn't come up very often, you know? Like you hear these matches that come up that you can't fill a card with matches that are that interesting. It's kind of like the center points. Like
that. And people want to see Rusumar lose because of his bad behavior, because he
mm-hmm.
doesn't let go of taps and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But in the Gary match, he seemed to be very respectful. I didn't see any of that MMA, any of that bullshit he was doing. But I'm sure a lot of people want to see him get broke, so we'll be tuning in for that. So
I remember a video that Gary made the night before that event, and he was basically saying like, I am legitimately worried that this guy might cripple me. Like I'm definitely of the understanding that yes, he is dangerous, and he could be like career-changingly dangerous. And
as he should have. Look at the videos.
definitely. Like he was not walking into that ignorant. He wasn't walking into it overconfident. And I thought it was very cool to see somebody at that level who you would think would be hyper confident. I'm the power grappler coming in. You know, I've been on the scene. I'm the one winning all the belts right now. And this guy's, you know, you could say he's has been at that point, you know, but he's going in like look, I'm the underdog and I understand it, and I'm gonna do it anyways.
Yeah. Well, do you ever see the video where he goes in ADCC where he goes against Galvao, and after the match, how he hits his back to congratulate him, like this power, like
yeah,
boom, boom, and he's like, that's how he you know, it's someone that's definitely has a few screws loose. He's not fucking right. There's something missing on ours.
I've heard some stories about him. There's probably something, you know, like you're saying, a chip on his shoulder, screw loose, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
But
he's fucked up. He's fucked up.
Oh, for sure.
He's a fucked up human being.
But again, makes for good pay-per-view. So
yeah, for sure. I'm in. Send me the link and I'm buying it.
Right on. You're East Coast, so I feel like East Coast U.S. almost all the way across the East Coast but especially closer to New York, you get a lot of the best leg lockers in the game right now. Like you got to see this stuff a lot where you're at. Hey.
Yeah, well, actually, I did. If you go on YouTube, you see a lot of my early grappling matches. Leg locks were not that big at the time, and I was doing a lot of stuff with legs. I was doing inside ashi. I was doing a lot of heel hooks, inverted heel. I was doing a lot of stuff, and I was winning a lot of matches because people had never seen it before.
Mm.
But now that I'm getting older, the game has changed, and I realize it's so much harder to catch these people. But at the time, like in Ohio, I don't remember anyone doing leg locks. They were actually frowned upon back then. They were just, especially old school jiu-jitsu guys were like, no, that's cheating. And when you touch the legs, it was cheating off the bat. So I wouldn't even do it. But in tournaments, I'd bust out. You can go on YouTube and see a couple of matches, and I'm just doing leg locks. I'm doing leg locks from the early, about mid 90s until, you know, but now everyone knows them. So that I get caught in them now. So there's some people in them.
Yeah,
but it's very heavily leg locked, like you said, around there.
So who do you see coming up in that scene? Do you follow the local scene at all? Like I know that some of the lesser known but highly talented people out of the Gracie Henzo Gracie New York school around that area are quite good. So we're like the Ethans, the Krelesteins, like the people that aren't quite at that Gary Tonin level of notoriety, but are training with Eddie Cumming and such. Do you get to roll at all with them?
I got to roll with. I went to Donner's school once. I was working out there, and I rolled the day before at Gary's school. I actually got to roll with Gordon Ryan in the gi.
Oh, really?
This was like 3 years ago. I stopped in the school and I rolled in the gi with Gordon. And then I rolled with his little brother at the time. He was wearing no gi and I was wearing my gi. I got to roll with him. And then I got to roll with Eddie the next day at Donner's. But like I said, I don't follow the jiu-jitsu scene that much. And I feel bad that I don't, because I get tagged a lot of times. Hey, what do you think of this guy? And I'm like, I don't know who that guy is. I'm sure he's really awesome. Send me a video of him and I'll watch it. You know, like it's just, if there's like a big match, like you said right now, I'll be watching it. But like, unless I know what's going on, It's just I don't have time to keep up. I can barely keep up with my messages on Mr. Jiu-Jitsu, let alone follow. But I'm sure there's, like I said, the level keeps going up and up. Like Greg Jones,
Yeah.
I think that's still the tip of the iceberg. I think there's guys after him that are going to come up that it's even crazier. Like his Z guard, I think is changing the game. Everyone's doing it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone, you have someone in your half guard. You're like, is this half guard? Is he going to Z guard? He's about to get inverted. It's I look down when I'm in someone's half guard. I'm like, especially Nogi. I'm like, okay, was he just watching a Greg Jones video? Was he watching the Donner video? Every time someone's in half guard, I'm like, let me see which way they're putting that half guard in. Are they about to get inverted? Are they going for a leg? Or they're just looking to sweep? So sometimes I just want to get swept. I'm like, just sweep me. I'm inverted and go for my leg. So.
Yeah, it's
but
funny.
Yeah, I don't follow a lot of the names, and I feel bad sometimes. I should follow more.
I mean,
with a name like Mr. Jiu-Jitsu, I should follow
this is
more
why
Jiu-Jitsu.
this is why I'm asking, because I feel like I follow it, but I can't keep up. There's just so many names that I want to be in the know, like the week before they blow up, kind of thing. But
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to keep track.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, I get tagged on a lot of stuff, so I get to see a lot of stuff. People are like, I actually watch a lot of white belt matches, a lot of blue belt matches. I get tagged on a lot of, and I enjoy watching new people compete.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy. If someone said, "Do you want to go see?" Like, yeah, I want to see the Paula Harris match, obviously, with Greg Jones. But, someone that follows me that's always tagging me, I want to go see their white belt match. But I get so many. I probably watch 30 to 40 white belt matches a week get sent to me. They're like, hey, take a look. Did I do something wrong? What do you think? And, so I can tell you who the next upcoming white belts are. I know a few thousand of them.
You might be the only guy out there keeping track.
Yeah, I know. And I enjoy it. I enjoy that people are willing to send me, their first matches, because I know how hard it is to compete as a white belt, man. It takes fucking balls to go out there, step on a mat for 4 minutes, especially if you work a full-time job. If you're a single mom, it's so hard to step out on a mat on a Saturday, take the time off, and to do something that's going to change your life. I believe once you compete once, it changes your life. A lot of people are out there, they're worried about, I don't want to look bad. I don't want to lose. I don't want to get hurt, man. It's once you do it once, even if you do one grappling match your whole life, you're going to talk about that one grappling match until you're 90 years old. I promise. You're going to tell your kids about it. You're going to feel like you conquered the world.
Yeah, it's a one-off experience. It can't be replicated for sure. I tell people, my students especially, but just people in general, white belt it's an interesting belt in that it's almost similar to black belt in the level of discrepancy you can have of proficiency. You know what I mean? Like the difference between a first A white belt and a 4-stripe white belt is enormous. And like the difference between a brand new black belt and a 5-stripe black belt who's been doing it for 20 extra years is enormous. It's a giant pool to be jumping into. You never really know what depth of skill compared to your own you're going to get. Whereas at blue, purple, brown, they're all within a couple years of each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And then you have your occasional sandbagger that you'll throw in there. Occasional sandbagger. So let me ask you a question. Now, speaking of sandbaggers, we're going to go a little off topic. I was talking with this gentleman who's getting ready to throw a grappling tournament. And he said, I believe all wrestlers should do intermediate and up. And I said, I don't think that's fair. And he's like, what do you mean? They have all these years of grappling. I go, but it's wrestling. So, because if someone's a powerlifter all their life, they have to go intermediate. If somebody was an NFL football player or a pro basketball player, I don't think a wrestler should have to go to intermediate. I know a lot of people are against that. It's just, there are some white belts right now that have been doing it for 4 or 5 years that will leg lock the shit out of you.
100%.
I know some white belts right now that will crush, college wrestlers. They'll just get inverted and grab their leg. Doesn't matter. They don't care if they get taken down. They're going to get their leg. So I don't think it's fair. I think that maybe do a division, have a novice. Maybe not let them in the novice, and then have. But I think wrestlers should be allowed to do the beginner division. I don't see the. I don't see that. I don't think it's fair. What do you think about that?
The problem, like I run tournaments myself, and I run into these issues. The problem is that it all comes down to one-off examples. To say all wrestlers isn't fair to all wrestlers. You could have a guy who is a 3-time state champ, or just like a guy who did a semester of wrestling. They're both wrestlers. So to say that if you're a wrestler, you're an intermediate, you're going to get a bunch of people screwed for sure who don't belong at intermediate. Because like you're saying, wrestling isn't submission grappling. It's totally different. Your mentality is different. You're worried about the pin. You're not worried about being submitted in a lot of wrestling matches, right? So you'll put yourself into dangerous positions that you think you're safe in. You don't understand till it's too late, which could be career altering if it's something that's a joint lock that you weren't
Yeah.
expecting, and suddenly your shoulder's blown. Um, but then vice versa, you can have somebody who's had 10 years of wrestling experience going against a white belt who's been in it for 2 months, because he has to go in the beginners division. So
Mm.
I know that Naga tries their damnedest to stop sandbagging. They're very vocal about it, and they'll ask about years of experience, years of grappling experience. And I guess that's one measure that kind of helps level it out a bit. But
But let's be honest, asking someone and actually really knowing her, especially with
yes, of
jiu-jitsu,
course, of
there's
course.
so much fucking sandbagging.
Oh
Everyone,
yeah,
it's amazing. Everybody wants to compete, but come tournament day, everyone is gathered around the tournament. Who am I going against? Well, how much
yeah.
experience does he have? It's like, what
Uh,
happened to him? I'll go against anybody the day before you're posted out. But come tournament day, isn't it weird where all the names are stacked up? Where am I at? Where's my bracket at? Everyone tunes changed because they want to get that easy win. They want to get to that
yeah.
final
Do
match.
I got the
They're like,
buy?
oh, you guys do a match, so I get the buy. So it all changes. So I know the bullshit. I know even the
Yeah.
toughest people, tournament day, everybody wants to fucking win. Everyone
Everybody
wants to
walks
fucking win.
around looking like, is he my weight? He looks my weight. Maybe
Yeah,
he's my
everyone's
weight.
sizing people up. I heard he wrestled 2 years. I heard he's the same. It's crazy. Tournament
Yeah.
day, how everyone's tune changes, and they're all gathered around that table, with the names. Who's in my division? This guy could beat four. Then they're googling people's names or looking on YouTube. So
Yeah.
I've seen it all.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, everyone fucking lies at the tournament. So
I don't think there's a good
unless
way.
we do like an international database where you got to
Yeah.
Google, just Google. I'm just pull
Yeah.
out your computer. If you look, some guy walks in and you're like, I think I've seen this. Google his name. Look at some terms. See if he's been there before.
I know there's different standards for different tournaments. I'm pretty sure that IBJJF, if you're a judo black belt, you have to compete at blue belt. They won't let you go to white. I think that's
Now
fair.
judo's different.
That's fair.
Judo's got submissions in it. It's a whole different.
Yeah, they
it's
don't
more
focus
close
on
to jiu-jitsu.
Nawaza, but they have it, right? They've been training it for
Yeah.
X number of years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of judo schools are adding a lot more jiu-jitsu now. Almost all martial arts schools are adding jiu-jitsu in. Like those days are over. Like you go to karate school right now, they're rolling. It's they might have karate out there, but they're doing jiu-jitsu once a week. They might not say they are, but they're doing, even the ones that say that we don't need jiu-jitsu, they're doing jiu-jitsu behind closed doors.
Yeah.
All these people that are against jiu-jitsu, that talk shit on jiu-jitsu behind closed doors, they are fucking doing jiu-jitsu. Don't let them fool you. All these people that do Krav Maga, whatever it is they do, they're doing jiu-jitsu on the side. They're not going to say it on Facebook. They're going to talk shit against jiu-jitsu. But behind closed doors, they're grabbing their fucking buddies and they're rolling around on the ground like monkeys. Trust me.
And
they're
they
doing
should.
jiu-jitsu.
They should at least know how to stop it.
Because they know what's up. They control me, they control you, they control whatever the fuck they want. I know when the doors are closed, they're trying that shit out. So
yeah, 100%.
At least finding ways to beat it. So they got to roll to do it. So.
I was talking to Rob from McDojo Life maybe last week, I think it was, and he was saying a very similar thing where if you talk to any traditional martial artists, they say they train whatever. They train karate and grappling. They train kung fu and grappling. They train Muay Thai and grappling. It's like it's the add-on you have to have because it's half of fighting, and you could argue that it's more than half, once it goes to the ground. Where are the statistics? It's probably like 80% of fights end up on the ground.
It is. I tell people all the time, like people that don't believe, I go on YouTube and I want you to Google 10 random street fights. 10 random street fights, what happens? They're going to hit the ground. He's going to grab his shirt. They're going to be in a headlock position, something. Because a lot of people think, oh, you're just making those statistics up. I'm like, go on YouTube right now, Google 10 random street fights. You'll get the occasional sucker punch, knocks the guy out. The occasional guy who can actually fight, hits him with a punch, but it's going to get on the ground. Someone's going to break them up, stand them back up, but it's going to hit the ground. There's going to be some form of grappling. I'm sure it's going to be cool. There's going to be some form of grappling will be done in those matches.
Mm-hmm.
So
and how much of an advantage is it to know just the fucking tiniest amount of grappling compared to most people who know literally nothing?
You literally need this.
Mm-hmm.
It's so small. You just need a little bit of grappling, which is why I love. People think I'm trolling people when I'm always talking. Like I'll make this post about you just need jiu-jitsu there. You just need jiu-jitsu for that. Well, if you had some experience in jiu-jitsu or a sports jiu-jitsu guy will still beat your ass in a street fight because it's the truth.
Yeah,
it's the truth. I'll right now, if you've never been in a fight before, I'll sit on my butt. You're going to land a kick on my thigh. Eventually, I'll get inverted and wrap around your leg. Then what are you going to do? can you pick me up and slam me if I'm wrapped around your leg?
They think they can
And I tell
until you're
people that.
there.
Have you ever tried to slam someone that has you in 50-50?
Yeah, good luck.
It's such a foreign position, especially 50-50. If you lock your 50-50 down another person's leg around their thigh, what are they going to do? They're going to punch your thigh. They're going to Charlie horse you. Are you really going to give up because they Charlie horsed you? They can't. Just think a 50-50 position, a position where all these self-defense experts say, no, you should never go in 50-50. Why wouldn't I go in 50-50? Well, you're stuck in my 50-50 right now. I can pull out my phone, call the police. I can call for help if you're stuck in 50-50. You could stand up in 50-50, but that's all you can do. You're still stuck there. You can't pick someone up. You can't, when you blast off the ground and slam it, you can't. It's just, triangle's a different story. You put someone in a triangle, they're strong enough, they're athletic enough, they might be able to pick you up and slam you. But put somebody in 50-50 and have them start swinging at you full speed. I want someone to try that and get back to me. There's not too much you're going to do.
All right, the challenge been put out there. Yeah. We're just going to pick a random fight, probably with a grandma or something.
There you go. Put your grandma 50-50 and have her start swinging at you. Tell me what happened.
Come on, Grandma. You said you're tough.
It's just that 50-50 position, a position that's very sport-oriented. That's a super sport position. 50-50 is like, oh, my God. Look, these guys, they just pulled you they just sat on their butts and went to 50-50. Put someone who does know nothing about grappling or fighting, put them in 50-50 and say, get out. Start swinging at me. They're fucked.
Yeah. And again,
besides the fact that you could destroy their leg at any time.
If you know one thing.
Anytime, if you know one little leg lock, you can just sit back there and go for a straight leg. Yeah. Game over.
Yeah. I was teaching a bunch of new guys the other day. We just went over a handful of mount escapes, how to defend yourself if you've been mounted and how to get out. And we just went over your basic buck and roll. Okay, like we're trapping the arm, just your basic jiu-jitsu, turn into full guard. And I was telling them, if you can keep yourself safe while you've been mounted, worst case scenario, somebody knocked you down to the ground when you weren't expecting it and jumps on top of you and starts landing punches. If you can keep yourself safe enough and understand how to move and keep yourself protected, if you hit this roll, and I'm telling you, it's very easy when you understand how to do it, you win the fight. Unless they know jiu-jitsu, they've lost because they don't have a guard. I promise you, they have no idea what to do when they're on the bottom and have their legs around you, which they will if they were just in mount. You can back out, you can land punches, you've won at that point. Like the ground fight is over if they don't know the first thing about jiu-jitsu.
But the problem, Drew, is that troll online that says, well, what if it's Brock Lesnar?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing.
What if he has a bazooka? What if he has needles around there? What if he has this? What was the last time? I want to see the video of Brock Lesnar getting in a fight outside the club. Where are the videos of, Randy Couture has just walked out of a nightclub and he's fighting with random people. Where are these? I want to see these videos because they don't exist. People, professional martial artists, people who train every day are not at the club fighting. They're not doing these kind of things. They're avoiding the fight.
No.
Someone talks shit to me. I look the other way. I'm like, cool, you win. Whatever. That's cool. People are like, I'll beat your ass. I'm like, you sure will. And I'm like, yeah, thanks for not beating. It's just, we fight if we have to. You're not gonna catch. You're never gonna see that on YouTube. You're never gonna see that on World Star. You're never gonna see it on World Star. Like, you're not gonna see you on World Star fighting some random guy outside the bar. It's not gonna happen. But that troll online has to take it to the extreme. We have to take everything to the extreme.
Because
we're educated. We have to say, well, what if he fights Brock Lesnar? What if he's holding a fucking machine gun? What if he's holding a bazooka? What if there's razor sharp AIDS needles everywhere?
Yeah, this is the problem is you're trying to have an argument with someone online and there's no way to win at that point. I don't care how stupid they are. They've always got a one-up, So
I don't have that argument.
You shouldn't.
I don't respond to trolls. I don't fucking respond to trolls. I don't even respond to fake. If someone sends me a message, and I look at their profile first, and if it's like a picture of their fucking dog or it's Deadpool or their fucking some bullshit picture, I don't respond because I need to know I'm having a conversation with this. I'm wasting my time. Why should I waste my precious time? Why should I have a conversation? Why should I argue about jiu-jitsu, politics, life, health? If you're not a serious person, I refuse to do it. I think if everyone started doing that online, social media would be a way much funner place. It'd be a more edgy. I mean, I do love the trolling. I'll sit back and I'll enjoy the best people arguing with each other. I enjoy it because I feel social media gives you an insight to who people really are sometimes. They do without even realizing it. But I refuse to get in that conversation with someone else. I'm not going to sit there and argue politics with you if it's a picture of your cat. If you have 100 pictures of your cat and you're just going around trolling, I'm not going to have a conversation with you. If you want a serious, debate, I will. If you want to talk about politics, about jiu-jitsu, about life, anything else, I'll have a serious debate with you. But once you go to the realm of an extreme, I'm not going to talk with you. And whatever it is, even if it's about politics, if right away you want to scream, you're one side of the coin, you're one of this, I'm not going to have a conversation. I need to talk to people who want to have open debates. We don't have to agree on everything. I'm sure me and you don't agree. I'm sure a lot of people don't agree on stuff, but we need to have open debates with people. And I think if people on social media start connecting with people who are open, who are willing to have debates, social media become a lot funner than it is now, believe it or not.
Yeah, for sure. How I got to know you as a profile online was actually with your memes to begin with, because I was already starting to make memes at that point, and you did as well before I started. But the thing that caught my eye was just you have some of the best trolling memes in the jiu-jitsu world. They're worded in a way that's going to make some people angry by design, and I fucking love reading the
Yeah,
comment sections every time they get reposted.
and I already know what these people are going to say, and I do it to show the people that do understand how. I go, do you see what this guy is saying? And it's funny how the people point the other person wrong. They're like, no, what you're saying is wrong. You actually, no, this would actually happen. This would happen. I like seeing the other people take down the troll.
Uh
You
huh.
know, and I've had trolls come back and be like, you know what, you're right. It's
Really?
fucked up. I've turned so many people. I have so many. I post a lot of my messages, but I've turned so many people. I've had people that fucking wanted to kill me, and months later, like, man, bro, you're right, man. You're right. I was in a bad place, and I'm like, cool, man. Let's be friends. It's just, just, But I'm pretty good at instigate. I can instigate a troll pretty good. I can light a troll's fire pretty good. So
Yeah, I hope you keep doing that for that reason alone, because there's
I do.
like I don't really I'll poke a little bit with some troll material, but it's very obviously tongue in cheek, but you'll just like
Yeah.
slap a bitch in the face with some of the things you say. And man, I love reading
And
that.
usually, all my memes are always directed at one person.
Oh,
It's
really?
always I'll get a message and I'm like, all right, you're getting a fucking meme.
Ah,
And they usually know it's about them. And I'm
yeah.
glad other people enjoy it. It's usually about all my memes are actually everything I post. It's usually directed at a message or something. I really don't. I've never made a meme or a post out of the blue. I'm not that smart. I'm just not that creative. So someone has to tell me something, and my creative juices get going. I'm like, oh, you think that's why I did that? Well, here's
Yeah.
this meme, or here's this post, or here's this video I'm gonna do for my car. To
That's a
to
good way
counteract what you
to
said.
that's
Yeah.
a good way to have constant material is to
Yeah, I
just
probably could sit in my car all day and do different posts.
yeah, because they literally bring the content to you.
Yeah, and I can't really make long posts either. My posts are usually like a minute, 2 minutes.
Uh-huh.
My video ones I do for my car because I have bad ADD. My attention span goes. I could be talking about one thing. I'll jump to the next subject. The next subject. I've probably done that a few times already while we're talking. I'll just
Brother, that's probably why we get along, because my
I'll probably jump
ADD
subject to subject.
is synced with yours. It's 2 minutes
Yeah.
is enough.
But now speaking of memes, you are fucking killing the meme game. Your memes are so. I'm always fucking screenshotting them and sending to someone. I'm like, this is you today. This is you today. This is you today. And I get tagged in a lot of your memes.
Yeah,
I get
yeah.
tagged in a lot of your memes.
Oh, that's
I get
funny.
tagged. They're like, oh, Mr. Jitsu, you were talking about this yesterday. This reminds me of that. Or someone I saw at a gym. I mean, you're killing. I don't follow too many pages. I follow yours. Another one I like is McDojo.
Yeah,
His fucking shit's fucking so funny. Strangle Squad.
yeah, yeah.
And I felt bad. One got taken down. I guess Instagram fucking took it down.
Oh,
Dank.
Dank Jits. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was so funny, and and that's the risk you take when you repost stuff. That's
Yeah.
it sucks that I really love it. His shit was so funny.
Well,
It sucks that
he's
he got
back.
taken down.
He's got a new profile that's building quite quickly. Like a lot of the
Oh, he's got another one. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. It's shoot. I will mention it in the comments because I don't want to get it wrong. But just search Dank Jiu-Jitsu, I believe is what it is.
Okay, yeah.
And
And I guess a couple people's stuff got
there was
taken
a
down, huh?
handful that just got nuked, and as far as anybody can tell, it was probably related to UFC video content. That I mean, clearly they say at the beginning of
Dana
every
White snapped his
broadcast.
fingers.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yes.
Thanos snapped his fingers and they were gone. Huh?
Yeah, as shopped as it gets, did a nice edit on that. Had
I think I did.
Dana's
I think
face.
I did see
Yeah,
that. I think I did see that. I think I did see that.
that's exactly
Yeah.
what happened. It's just literally, I was talking to the admin from Dank Jits the day that it happened. He's like, bro, I don't even know what to tell you. Like, I went to log into my account and it said that the password was wrong. I sent in emails and didn't get any responses, and then I started searching through my personal IG, and it didn't exist anymore. Like it just came
That
up nothing.
sucks.
It's like out of
Fuck, that
nowhere, he got
sucks.
no warning, you know. And here's the thing, like clearly there is a terms of use for every platform out there. People clicked the yes to the terms that nobody reads, and they don't owe anybody a warning. Okay, that's a platitude
Private
that
business.
thankfully Facebook is pretty good at giving warnings, but apparently Instagram is not. They just don't give a fuck and will nuke you. So I'll tell you, when the day that happened, every meme page that was on BJJ or MMA in that niche, including myself, I dug through every video I've ever posted, and anything that had a hint of UFC in it got deleted because it's not worth it, man.
Yeah, that's it's not worth it. It's a shame because I know he was doing a lot of work. A lot of people put a lot of work into these pages and it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I put so much little work into my page. I feel so bad. I mean, I probably could triple my followers if I tried. It's just I put so little work. Like especially on Instagram, I put very little effort on Instagram. It's like I don't even have an Instagram page.
Yeah.
I do everything on Facebook, and I just like I'll reshare it sometimes. There's enough minutes on the video, and it's just even in Facebook, like there's some I won't post for 3-4 days, and one day I'll post like three things would bother me or I feel good, and I'll post it. So
Hmm.
I feel like I should pay more attention to social media. I feel like I could make it a lot bigger. Just I don't have the time. You see what my next 24 hours is going to be like? It's
Oh
just
yeah.
I don't have the time. But I'm glad people like you are out there pushing it. Like I said, I think you are going to become the jiu-jitsu superstar, at least on social media, that's going to outrun everyone. It's just, you could just see it. I mean, you're willing to do stuff like this. And this right now is just, we're a year from now, we're going to look back and you're going to have some big guests on here. It's going to be, I have a feeling it's going to be big. You're just doing all the right things. You're doing all the right things. And I'm proud of you. That's awesome.
Well, thanks, man. I look forward to it. Like this is honestly some of the most fun I've had is doing these podcasts because I like talking to jujitsu people. I like talking to cool jujitsu people. It's why I got you on here. It's why I had Avery on here. It's why I had
I don't know
McDojo
about
on here.
cool. I don't know about cool.
You know, like I'll probably throw the bait out there for the big jujitsu stars eventually, but I want to have fun conversations. You know, I don't want it to be 100% about
Well, the
those
big ones are going to
advantages.
come.
Hey,
The big ones are going to come when they can get something too.
ah,
The big ones are going to come. It's like I got a big match coming up, or they'll have their shirt
yeah.
on, and I'm wearing a Wu-Tang shirt. That's what I'm pushing today, Wu-Tang.
Hey.
So who knows? But yeah, that's when you'll get the big ones. Eventually they'll pick up steam, and then you'll get the messages. You'll be like, hey, what's his name wants to be on your show? When can we set this up? And can you talk about this and
Yeah.
this and this on the show? And you're gonna have to do it. You're gonna have to play the game a little bit, but it's it'll be good for your brand. It'll be good to grow your brand like that. So you'll have to play the game. But
I'm gonna have to have you
this
manage me at that point because I'm a Canadian and I can't
no,
say
you don't
no.
want me, man. You don't want me managing shit.
I need
I'll
somebody with
say
a
so.
hard ass.
I'll say something fucking rude, and then I'll do the whole thing. So keep me away. Keep me away. Keep me away. But I enjoyed. I listened to the one last week you did with Avery. That was awesome. You guys hit on a lot of good subjects. I mean, you guys were talking about suicide and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So
Well, here's the
that's
thing, man. Like
it's good.
I I'll talk about anything, and I can ramble about anything. I like it when it's comical. Clearly, I like to do comedy, but I love it when it's not too. And I just I like to talk to people and get their story because everybody's different. I mean, man, like I don't know how many people I know in life that lost their dad at 14, and that's a very different life experience. That's I think that other people out there, especially through these type of mediums online, that can just download a podcast, and maybe there is somebody who's in that
Mm-hmm.
situation. That's it's very cool, personal way to express these life experiences that you might not hear otherwise.
Oh, definitely, and it's something that I've talked to a lot of people, and I always ask them, "How was your childhood growing up?" And I'm not doing it to be nosy. It's
Mm,
because I know what happened to me growing up fatherless, and I always ask like someone struggling. I'm like, "Well, how was your childhood growing up?" And they'll be like, my parents were divorced, or I grew up in this situation. I only live with my mom, I live with my dad, and it always has to do with that. A lot of things stem from being fatherless or motherless at a young age, and not just for boys, for girls too. A lot of girls are suffering a lot of stuff, and sometimes you hear about they commit suicide later in life. They go on to do other, hooked on drugs. It's because of the upbringing, and I think that if there's a way for like the youth to have someone to look up to have a father figure on the side, I don't know how that would happen, but I believe that is going to cause a lot of delay a lot of problems later on in life, like suicides, people getting hooked on drugs. It's just, you can't have kids 15, 16 years old growing up without a father figure. They need it. I don't know if a teacher has to step up in school, if a gym teacher has to step up, if me has to step up online, you have to step up online. But everyone needs that father figure out there. So we have to reach out to these younger people that don't have anyone, that don't have a mother, don't have a father, to be like, hey, send me a text message if something's going wrong. Why didn't you go to school today? Why didn't you do that? Why are you doing this? What's happening here? You know, why are you posting about that? So it's just, we have to keep ourselves open to people, especially people that don't have mothers and fathers. It's something that I don't know how I'm going to push that one day, but I definitely want to help children who don't have mothers and fathers. I'm not sure how I'm going to go around doing that, but it's something that definitely, I see how it affected me. It affected me bad in ways. It affected me good in some ways. It keeps me motivated now. But I know a lot of kids out there, that's why they have a lot of problems where they're at right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's because they had no mothers or fathers. You know, some people, you know, they just, their parents gave up on them. They put them for adoption. They just, the families broke up. You know, it's just, you know, and that's why a lot of my posts, I'm very hard on parents. I'm very hard on parents. I'm extremely hard on parents. And they get mad sometimes. And I really don't give a shit because the parents have to step up. If you have the fucking balls to have a child, it's your duty to step up, plain and simple. It's just how it is. You fucking made the time to have sex and have a child. Now it's your duty. It's no one else's duty, but it's your duty. So, and that child, how he grows up is on you. I believe so. You know, you hear these kids shooting up schools, doing this and that. Well, how were they raised? Were you letting the kids sit home all summer when you were vacationing out? Were you working too long? You know, it's just, there's a lot of stuff that we see these youth doing. We want to blame the youth, all these millennials, these young kids, you know, but what were you doing as a parent? So I think parents need to step up.
Well, nothing happens in a vacuum, right? So if you get to a giant end result like a school shooting, there's a lot of steps leading up to that. And let's be honest, at the school level, most of the people you see are your family. You know, like they have to be playing a role at some point.
Yeah. And you hear they grabbed their father's gun and went to school and shot up a school. It's like, okay, father, where did he get this idea? I mean, did you explain guns to him? Has there been a conversation? There's a gun in the house. This is it. Why isn't it locked up? You can tell there's a breakdown at the home. This all happens at the home. There's breakdowns at the home. It's just, and it's because these parents, they're being parents, but they're really being parents just because they're paying for a roof, they're paying for your cars. That's not being a parent. Being involved in the child's life is being a parent, plain and simple. And if you're not willing to do it, then someone has to step up and do it.
Yeah, well, man, I hope that you do find that avenue. And
I don't know
this is
how
the
I would do it.
beauty.
It's just something that I think about all the time.
Well, here's the thing. Like, this is the beauty of social media in and of itself, is that all you did to make your page is you did something that you love and you put your passion into it. And everybody who is about that or needed that automatically just magnetically draws to it. So if you've got the passion and you put it out there, people will find you. That's the beauty of this, you know? So maybe that's all you got to do, man. You got to start something and just let people find you. And man, like it doesn't have to be 100,000 people following. If there's those 2 people that really needed it, isn't that worth it?
That's all, man. If I tell you I tell people all the time, if you could reach 1 person out of 1,000,000, you've accomplished something that money can't buy. If you can if you can change someone's life with your personal experiences, there's no value you can put on. There's no money value you can put on that. It's something amazing. That's why I say when I get messages from people and they're like, "Oh man, I listened to your video last week and I did this. I listened to your video last week and now me and my dad are talking. Or I listened to your video last week and I actually went for that promotion at work, man. I love it. I love it, man. I can't get enough of it. I can't get enough of it. I love it. It's just, I just hope it keeps going. So, like I said, I probably could do more with my page. I could probably be more active, but I'm just so fucking busy.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. Like it is, you got to make money. You know, that's the problem with life. You know,
and I don't want to make money off jiu-jitsu. I actually, a year ago, people were like, "Hey, man, you should sell some Mr. Jiu-Jitsu shirts," and I made a couple shirts up, and I cannot even keep up with the orders. I get orders all the time, and people are like, "Hey, did you send that shirt out yet?" I'm like, "Fuck."
Yeah, I know that's the side.
I'm sorry,
people
I'll
don't
give you
see.
5% off. I'm like, it's you know, it's weird. You know, then people are like, and I've had 3 companies have sold shirts with my face on them. And I told them, look, I don't even want any money. If you can make money off jiu-jitsu using my face, I go, if you use this ugly fucking crooked nose, cauliflower ear, bald forehead, and make some money, I'm like, go ahead. They're like, you sure you don't want any money? I'm like, no. I'm like, I don't want any money. There's a couple people that made some shirts. I'm like, man, if you could make some money, you know, I got to see that you're passionate with the sport, that you're about the sport first. If you're about money first, I want nothing to do with you. But if you're passionate about the sport and you can make some money too, I see nothing wrong with that.
Okay, well, the words just got put out there.
Go ahead, use it.
We're gonna be flooding the market with your ugly face here
Yeah.
pretty soon.
I hope not. This is who wants to look at this thing, man. That's why even when I make videos, I'm like, man, I'd rather write this in a post. I don't think people want to look at this thing for too long. It's not nothing. It's not too much to look at. So
It's a good template though. You're bald, so anybody who's got a head can relate. You're not got this
yeah,
funky hair that bald people can't relate to. You got
yeah.
cauliflower ears that most of the jiu-jitsu guys can relate to.
How these earbuds have stayed in. That's what we were talking about earlier. I'm surprised they stayed in. I was like, man, am I gonna have to tape these on? But they stuck in. I shoved them in pretty good. So cauliflower ears,
gonna be bleeding by the end.
They don't fucking. They don't mix. They don't mix. They don't mix it.
Well, dude, I am so thankful that I got some time out of you. This has been a super fun podcast. I think we could probably wrap it up because we've touched on a lot of good shit, and I was just really happy to get you on here, man. Is there anything?
Drew, I appreciate for having me, man. I'm glad you had me on. It was great talking to you, and I want to meet you live one day.
This is the problem with being in Canada. It's so far away from all the cool people in the States,
I'll come up. I'll come to you one day.
All right. You'll make Paul's day, too.
Yeah, I'll come. Definitely. I want to meet Paul, too. I want to roll with Paul. I want to roll with all you guys.
All right. Is there anything that you want to say or plug or point people to for your own stuff before we go?
Nah, man. Follow Because Jiu-Jitsu. He's changing the game. Don't worry about me. If you need your ass kicked, send me a private message. I'll kick your ass via the DMs.
Okay. Oh, I just remembered, too, we got a chat going over here. A few people jumped in. Were there any questions anybody had for Mr. Jiu-Jitsu before we sign off? See somebody saying, "Damn, I missed the show." Well, don't worry, it'll be up on replay both on Twitch and on YouTube shortly, so you can play it back. But if you got something to say it now. If not, you can blow up Mr. Jiu-Jitsu's DMs. He's all ready for you.
I'm ready. I got a 4.5 hour drive. I'm going to press the play and listen to him as I drive. So.
All right, cool, man. Well, again, I'm super thankful to get the time out of you. I know how many hours in the day you got shit going on, so. It's been my pleasure as much as anyone. Says, Mr. JJ, you are awesome. That's all you need to say.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Take care, guys. We'll see you on the next episode of You, Me, and Us.